Hi, this is a mediunic message from the spirits. I wrote it down in 2016. Life's dilemma. Life is full of dilemmas that challenges our peace and most importantly, our our wisdom. We read, study, hear something about a certain subject, and then we assume we know it deeply until a situation in our daily lives triggers an automatic reaction. At that moment, our lower instincts usually manifest through crystallization of past actions, repeated in the form of habits that are difficult to remove. Let us consider self-love. We believe that someone else has hurt us, devaluated our feelings, crushed our expectations, and humiliated our self-esteem, make us feel diminished. But what is self-love, if not a disguised expression of our pride? One of the last barriers we will allow to fall. Pride fortifies the self, isolating it in a vicious circle of its own sensitivities, enabling excuses that justify why we cannot improve. If we tear down this wall of pride and accept ourselves as flawed, imperfect beings, a work in progress, we realize that self-improvement is like renovating a house with very little money. It's raining, so I'm gonna hit pause and I'll be back very soon. Back. This little money represents our deeply ingrained resistance to change. Even so, the work of building our own enlightenment progresses vice by vice, imperfection by imperfection, which we painstakingly and sacrificially remove. Very difficult. Let us not deceive ourselves. Deep internal transformations only take place over a generous amount of time. Some imperfections are so deeply rooted that their removal often takes place multiple lifetimes. That is why we are constantly encouraged by the spirituality, by God, to study ourselves rather than worry about others, whose actions will naturally be influenced if we do our part. These acts of kindness, no matter how small, moments when we yield to benefit others, combat our selfishness and prepare us for even greater challenges that will require faith and resignation. If we compare ourselves to runners, marathoners, prepared for a long journey, one cannot conquer oneself through an intense but short-lived effort, like a 100-meter sprint. A steadier, continuous effort is preferable, the kind we are willing to sustain indefinitely. After all, let us not forget that our greatest enemy is cunning, astute, and knows us intimately. Who is our enemy? It's not the devil. nor anyone outside of us. It's ourselves. How often do we manipulate our own reasoning to justify our actions that our conscience warns us are wrong? How many times? Do you know why Spiritism is not for everyone? Because many are not yet ready to take full responsibility for the suffering they bring upon themselves. They still need to blame someone else. This is our life. Thus, we forget that we are immortal beings in the spiritual world, reasoning only within the here and now, with a little concern for the future. This immediacy often leads us to make poor choices, including a rushed desire for moral improvement. Before the light of this doctrine, the promised consoler, we become impatient, eager to rid ourselves of our flaws instantly, ignoring that evolution does not happen in leaps. Trying to run a marathon with the intensity of a sprint, we soon exhaust ourselves, have burnouts, realizing the enormity of the changes we need to make in our own lives. Instead of breaking our problems into manageable parts and solving them systematically, as Descartes taught, we try to tackle everything at once and are defeated before we even begin. When we face natural difficulties, our grand project of becoming a saint in no time is shattered. We become discouraged, realizing that no matter how much effort we put into our inner transformation, we cannot undo centuries of ingrained habits overnight. Many, unaccustomed to losing battles, give up when their grand visions of enlightenment are thwarted, believing they are incapable of such a change. As in nearly everything, we still lack maturity and patience. We all want to start the day after tomorrow, preferably on a Monday, and see results yesterday. When we begin working for the good as workers of Jesus, we want recognition, arrogantly assuming a moral superiority we are far from achieving. Given our past filled with missteps, we wish our families understood us better, yet we ourselves remain selfish and impatient, clinging to old habits. We demand that others change while ourselves struggles to provide them with a true example of faith and commitment to transformation. I emphasize not just change, but a commitment to change that is different, which means acknowledging our flaws and making an honest effort to improve, even when the challenge seems overwhelming. Moreover, we are easily shaken under the pretext of indulging our exaggerated sensitivities, always thinking we are not responsible for the situations that demand action from us. The truth is, we always want more than we are willing to give. At best, we acknowledge the law of cause and effect only when it comes to our careers and material wealth. Why do we often desire more than we deserve? Why are we almost eternally dissatisfied, always complaining about what we lack and what we have failed to achieve? The answer is simple. The beloved Master has already told us that true happiness is not of this world. And I would add that neither is true satisfaction, which is always fleeting and ephemeral. We place our sense of fulfillment not in our moral progress, but in worldly achievements, such as professional success, forgetting that our time here is brief, temporary. We often believe we lack many things or that we are not sufficiently loved and understood. This childish, immature way of thinking reveals our spiritual infancy. If we wish to sit among the adults, we must at least try to behave like them, understanding that everything we have, everything we experience, and everyone placed around us are there not by cosmic randomness, but by careful planning. If we could see our lives as a painting, some parts would be blank, awaiting the brushstrokes of our free will, while others were sketched before birth with spiritual guidance. For example, the frame may be predetermined, whether we are born male or female, whether our life will resemble a landscape or a portrait, but ultimately what we paint on this canvas depends entirely on us. This painting can be beautiful if we strive for goodness, or dark and empty if we think only of ourselves. Regardless, even if we cannot erase the past, we can always start a new painting in this very lifetime and create something beautiful. As Chico Xavier, a Brazilian medium, once said, this change, of course, is possible at any time. While we are still on earth, it's never too late to transform, even for those at the end of their journey. I would like to share with you two prices we pay in life: the price of discipline and the price of regret. The first, discipline, is paid daily in small amounts, like a dropping coin in a jar each day. The second is like an unpaid credit card, a bill accumulating astronomically until the day comes when we must pay all at once, without further delay. At that moment, agonizing pain shakes our very foundation, forcing us to change direction, always as a last resort, after every warning from our conscience has been ignored. Friends, let us choose goodness Let us willingly pay for those small daily coins, those little sacrifices that teaches us to think less of ourselves and more of others. Even if it seems tedious to prioritize others over ourselves, this is a small price to pay. Joyfully, knowing that we are improving and avoiding painful consequences in the future. A fraternal embrace, Lucius. Thank you all. Until the next video.